Joining us today is Pranav Dangi, founder and CEO of the Hosteller, India's largest backpacker hostel chain. From reimagining budget travel to building a vibrant community driven brand, Pranav has reshaped how young India explores the world and India. Today, we dive into his journey of risk, innovation, and scaling hospitality one hostel at a time. Pranav, welcome to the Do Big podcast. It's our absolute pleasure to have you here today.
Thank you, Sheetal, for inviting me to the podcast.
So let's start off with a fun rapid fire round.
Sure.
It doesn't have to be really rapid in that sense, but I just thought we'd start off with that. Let's get to know you a little better.
Sure.
Okay. So if your startup journey was a travel destination, what would be the journey like? Would it be a mountain thing? Would it be a jungle safari? What would it be?
I think it would be a mixture of all of it. Mountains, because the business has seen ups and downs. Jungle, because we got lost a lot many times and got back on track. Okay. Desert, because we feel deserted a lot many times. But yes, it has been an adventurous one. Whether it is a mountain trek, it's an expedition in the jungle, or maybe a desert where you found none, but you found the way.
I hope it's next at the sea where you find some calm. What's more satisfying, opening a new location or getting a fantastic review from a customer?
Oh, so see, we thrive on reviews. We thrive on guest feedbacks. We generate a lot of it every year. So every new positive or a negative review are like golden words by the guests. We act on it. We better ourselves. But a positive one is always good to hear. And I can't compare between opening a new hostel and getting positive reviews from the guest, but both of them are satisfying in their own sense.
Okay.
Yeah.
As an entrepreneur, what is the biggest risk you've taken?
Biggest risk to become an entrepreneur in the first place, but see, we created or we entered into this segment with an aim to create a new category. Hostels did not used to exist before 2013, I guess, in India. And creating a new category in a country like India, believe me, it's one of the toughest job that an entrepreneur takes up. So yes, I think creating this category, and I believe to some extent we have been able to successfully do that.
Okay. Where do you escape to? I know where you take the Gen Z, but where do you escape?
Oh, I love beaches. Okay. I was in Delhi for many years, but I switched to Bombay for the love of beaches. Though I don't experience too much of it in Bombay, in a city like Bombay. But yeah, whenever I'm off for some vacation, definitely beaches are the priority.
I was going to ask you, when was the last time you went to a beach in Bombay? I think anyone who lives in Bombay really never lands up at the beach.
Yes.
Where would you like to open the next Hosteller hostel?
We have been eyeing Pondicherry for a long time. I think that's one city in India where we would love to open. But if you talk about our international expansion, definitely one city that is on our mind is Barcelona. I personally love that city and would definitely want to open a hostel there someday.
And would that hostel be Gaudi inspired or football inspired?
No, I think it would be a mix of all of it. Barcelona in itself has a lot to offer for sport lovers, it's a beach city again. So definitely party, sports, adventure, city, culture, all of it.
Okay, and with that, we'll move into our second segment.
Sure.
Pranav, when I was growing up, there were the YMCAs and the YWCAs of the world. What was the original spark for you to start Hosteller?
Sure. So YHAI is the organization. It's a non-profit organization that runs youth hostels.
Right.
It has been in the world since ages. However, the YHAIs of the world were not adopting to the trend, the shifting trends in the way that the Gen Z, the younger audience used to travel. They used to be at prime locations, but very dull and not so inviting. Uh, Plus, in 2013-14, the culture of backpacker hostels was not that prevalent. Uh, there was a very huge blank space in this category, and that's what we tapped into. We made the hostels fun, vibing, interactive, experiential for the travelers. And they found their safe haven in terms of staying whenever they were traveling to destinations for adventure, for leisure, for just getting away, breaking away from that work life. So that's what we did. We changed the cover. We made it more prevalent. We made it accessible. And then easily identifiable for a lot of people who were missing out on this.
2013, 2025, good 12 years.
Sure.
How has the brand and the experience evolved?
As you know, we started in 2013-14. If you ask me, out of 100 people, only 10 knew what backpacker hostels were. What we did in the initial years was educating the younger generation about what backpacking is, what backpacker hostels are, why should someone prefer a hostel over a hotel, what change would come in their travel experience when they'll stay and opt for a hostel. So the first few years were all about educating the audience, plus learning a lot by doing it ourselves. I am from a non-hospitality background, so the first few years were learning for ourselves also, building the processes, making mistakes, probably working with the industry professionals from hospitality background, all of it. I think first few years were all about that, but later on, I think especially after the pandemic, things changed in the travel sector, especially in India. A lot of people picked up traveling. Longer duration travel became shorter but more frequent. So people today are opting for traveling probably every month or every 2 month. The culture of hostels have come in. That 10 figure has gone to almost 95 now. So 95 out of 100 people who travel know about hostels. So a lot has changed from the point of view of our brand plus the industry. Hardly there were 5 hostels in 2014. Today there are 1,500 hostels in country. So a lot of things have changed.
So, hospitality was one of those sectors which was totally hit when the pandemic came in,
Sure.
right? You would have been a budding
Yes.
business at that point in time,
Yes.
4 years odd into the business. What was that experience like? How did you manage that as an entrepreneur?
Absolutely. Very tough times. The business went down to zero. Nobody was moving out of their homes. So obviously, no one was traveling. So no one was coming to our hostels. We were naive at the time from the point of view of all our legal agreements as well. We did not even know what a force majeure clause is. So all our properties were on a, I would say, they came down to zero when in terms of hosting people. We had a tough time, but luckily the partners, the owners that we have of the properties that we hold today were very understanding of the situation. They helped us get through that phase. And in fact, during that phase, the brand picked up at least 8 to 10 additional new properties.
Wow.
Because we knew that the real estate market has sunk, and this is a good time to pick up properties, because we believed in the product, we believed in the brand, we believed in the guests who we had hosted before, and we knew that as and when the situations will improve, tourism especially is going to bounce back quite rapidly, and it did. It all came back in our favor. But yes, COVID was difficult for anyone who was in the hospitality sector.
So, revenge tourism brought you back
Yes,
on
absolutely.
track very quickly? or-
Absolutely. People had their revenge and in the most possible form.
And I'm just trying to understand that before Hosteller became a brand, right? And you talked about how much effort had to go into even educate people about what it means to stay in a hostel.
Yeah.
What was that real problem? Because if you're creating a category,
Sure.
there's really not a problem in that sense
Sure.
that you were solving for.
Yeah.
So, what motivated you to create this category? What was that idea or problem that you thought that I should seed into the consumer's head and then
Sure.
solve for?
Sure. No, so it all stemmed from the fact that I myself took a backpacking trip to Europe in 2013. That's where I experienced backpacker hostels for the first time. Believe me, before 2013, I had no idea what a backpacker hostel is. And the entire backpacking trip of 6 months to Europe became such a memorable experience for me that when I came back to India, I started going around everywhere in the country to figure out if there were any backpacker hostels at that point in time. The problems that I identified during that time was the way that Indian hospitality industry is built is more on the lines of hotels, a formal check-in, check-out process, lesser activity built on community of the people who come to that hotel, and it's more on the lines of being transactional rather than experiential. Uh, Additionally, what I noted was that the price point of less than 1,000 rupee offering that exists or used to exist in the country before was very, I would say, poor in terms of its offering, infrastructure, communication, the quality of experience that a guest could have. So that whole 0 to 1,000 rupee bracket was very, I would say, dull and mundane. That's what we identified. We also researched in those days what backpackers were doing, where they were staying, and all that we could found was uncategorized hotels, homestays, B&Bs, and all of it. So there was a very huge gap in the entire hospitality industry, and that's what hostels as an offering has bridged. We provide world class quality accommodation in less than 1,000 rupee category. Though it's sharing, it's based on a community living concept where people come together. It's not only about stay, it's about meeting other people, creating stories, becoming friends, and all of those things, which typically does not happen in a hotel. So I think these were all the gaps that we identified in the initial years, and which is what we have tried to solve for.
So, very interesting. Just out of curiosity, are a lot of your customers men or young women? And has that changed over the years?
Absolutely. I think with the hostels coming in this sector, uh, females have particularly started picking travel quite rapidly than they used to before. Today, 40% of our guests are females.
Oh, wow.
60% are male. And I would say we have almost a 35% solo traveler amongst all of our guests. And believe me, 75% of those solo travelers are females.
Wow.
So females have found their go-to place when they're traveling.
That's very interesting.
Yeah.
Were there early assumptions that you made which were incorrect, or you realized, hey, we've made some assumptions, but we need to course correct?
Sure.
Were there any such moments?
Yes, I think over the course of business, the last 10 years, we've made mistakes. We have learned from it. One mistake that I could, or I would say, it's not a mistake. It's a learning that we had. Was that we thought we'll build initial 8-10 hostels and then go on to a franchisee mode, which is what we made a mistake over there. I think, and I'm a believer now, that hospitality particularly should not be franchised. It is something that you have to put your hard work into, because at the end of the day, the guest matters, and quality is something that you need to offer day in, day out. So franchisee model, we stopped, we pivoted over there. We did a few franchises in the initial days, but then now the company only does company operated properties and not franchisees.
And at what point in the last 12 years did you realize, or if I may use the word do big, what was that moment, that do big moment when you realize that, okay, now I know that 10 can go to
I think in an
infinity?
entrepreneur's life, there are many two big moments that come. Like, for example, the first three hostels I was working with EY parallelly and working on the concept. But then I realized the do big moment came that I need to stop working for EY or a corporate and move full time into this. I still remember uh, we were doing 5, 7, 10, 15 room properties before in the initial few years. The do big moment came, and today we operate a property which is 76 rooms. It is
Wow.
India's largest backpacker hostel. So all of, I think, step by step we learned, we grew, and the do big moments are every day. You just need to eye for it and pick it up.
And how do you see yourself as differentiated from competition?
So we do a lot of things to differentiate ourselves, or I would say the product in itself differentiates with our competition. First of all, our model and our thought process and vision behind it. We only want to be a company operated model. We have solved for a lot of things from the point of view of the guests or our internal operations through tech, where I would say 90% of the industry does not even have a website of their own. We have solved for customer acquisition, discoverability, seamlessness in the duration of a guest stay. We have automated a lot of things with respect to reputation management, dynamic pricing, and which is what at the end of the day brings value to us as well as the guest who stay with us. We also have done a lot on the side of our infrastructure, ambience, design, and look and feel of the properties. Today, we proudly can say that we are on the upper segment of hostels, where we some of our properties are as good as I would say a four-star property, a hotel. So yes, differentiation has come at many steps of the business.
And so, typically, who is your competition, if I may ask that?
So our competition is so there are two, three brands in hostel space who are our competition. Competition is also anyone who has I would say, or who is a boutique hotel in a particular city. We compete with hotels also because half of our inventory is private rooms. So we have competition here and there, but yes, hotel market is huge. There are more than 1 lakh properties in the country, and we hostel as a segment only holds 1.5% of that market. So 98.5% is our competition, but I think the way that we have built the brand, we are curtailing and reducing that competition every day.
That's fantastic. And is your audience typically the Gen Zers, or is it slightly older people? Where does the market come from?
See, we believe in the fact that any young at heart traveler is our guest, is our audience. However, what we have seen over the last 10 years is 90% of our audience falls under the 32 and below aged category, and we have around 10% who are experiential older, who love to stay in hostels, who love to break away from the monotony of staying in hotels. But yeah, mostly our Gen Z, younger generation, younger working professionals who have just joined a job in their career, and are looking to travel.
Fantastic. Thank you.